All right. Well, guys, welcome back to the 27th episode of the Untoldgems podcast. We are here with a digital creator. Her name's Aaliyah. I'll let you introduce yourself quickly.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Aaliyah, and yes, I am a digital creator, and I also work in public relations. So I kind of balance the two in my lifestyle. But yeah, that's just a little gist about me.
Cool. So you do YouTube, you do you're active on Instagram, and you work full time or part time?
I actually work full time, which is a little bit new for
Wow.
me. So yeah, a little bit of everything. But to be honest, it's been this way for I guess the last 4 years. So I feel like I've definitely have gone through the motion of, getting used to it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we'll start with the basics. Like, what would you say is your main side hustle? Do you say you're more of a YouTuber or you're more of like a content creator in general?
Yeah, I would say it's funny because my platform, I guess, really started on YouTube. I was a little bit shyer on Instagram, and then eventually, all the other social apps started to emerge. But I do kind of consider myself more of a content creator just because I do not post on YouTube as I used to.
Mm,
And, life has changed so much with, I guess we'll get into that, but just in terms of short term content and video
Yeah, for
snippets and just
sure.
getting to the point that, videos that are longer than 5 minutes are just so hard for people to watch.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
that's
Yeah.
true.
facts. People's
So
what's it
Attention
called?
span.
Attention span. Yeah,
Attention
attention span,
span.
our attention span is like fried. Like none of us can
it's
watch long videos
horrible.
anymore. It's
But
crazy.
No, right? No, that's
you know what's
honestly,
funny?
that's for me.
They used to say the attention span used to be 7 seconds. Now because of TikTok, there's 3 seconds. You
Three
got
Oh
three
my
seconds.
seconds to
god.
get a point out,
You
and
have
then
three
afterwards, content.
seconds.
You do. If you don't catch me in 3 seconds, I'm swiping.
Yeah, it's so true.
That's
It's crazy.
crazy.
Even 7 seconds is short. So imagine 3 seconds. Like that's insane.
Yeah, and it's not even that too, but it's also just the aesthetic, the music,
Yeah.
the tone. If you realize a lot of the darkness is coming back in videos, it
Yeah,
used to
for
be so
sure.
bright.
We were just talking about that.
Yeah, now it's everything is so dark. So
The
it's
low
you have
exposure.
to
Yeah.
yeah, no exposure.
So
See,
basically, you're like, I think YouTube is like one of the hardest things anyone can do. And to be a consistent YouTuber, like to do it full time and to have videos every day, every week is like a
Mhm.
crazy thing. So what got you into YouTube? Like what made you want to share your life with people online? And how difficult was it truly to like stay consistent?
Yeah, I would say that I actually started at a really good time. So I started at about I would say ending 2018, maybe early 2019. And I actually started off very shy. I didn't even post anything. I had about maybe 4 videos uploaded before I told anybody because I'm the type of person where
Mm,
I want to kind of see if this is for me before I announce anything.
Yeah,
yeah,
for
for sure.
sure.
But you just don't know if you want to really show yourself like that. But I think it was just one video I made on Instagram that did really well, and then I kind of got the confidence. So I would post probably 2 times a week, 3 times a week, and I did that for 3 years. I
That's
would say this
amazing.
is probably my first year where my videos were going every 5 months, and I was finding videos, and I think in the early stages it's really easy because there's so much that people may want to know about you. It's who are you? What do you do every day? Your lifestyle videos. And for me, it was always lifestyle, beauty, health, wellness. So if I broke all of those down, I can sort of create a calendar, and I was pushing out content all the time, which was a really good thing for me. But yeah, I would say even from then, it was the pandemic. People were home. So I
Mm,
already established at that point I've already had 10K followers. And so with
Wow.
people being home and having nothing to do, it was such good momentum for me. I saw my first million video and then the second one came.
Wow.
Yeah, it really was just, just full force after that, I would say.
that's fire. So in the past year, you said you're like slowing down basically, or have you fully stopped YouTube?
Yeah, so I think it was mostly a choice. I actually went to school for science, and I was I'm gonna be a physiotherapist. I was there, I was
Mm,
in school, I was working at a hospital. That was my 9 to 5 for about a year and a half. I started to not like it, and a large part of it was because I would be at work thinking about filming.
Yeah.
Like my
Yeah.
mindset was like, I can't wait to go home and just like put up like a what's it called, like a backdrop, and
Yeah.
Mm,
it'd be pitch dark outside, and I'd be like, "Morning, guys," and I was just faking
that's
it till
funny.
I make it. But yeah, I just realized like I just did not like that career path for me, so I ended up leaving, and it was the perfect time for me to go full time. So like throughout the pandemic, throughout the last 3 years, I was doing that. And then I started to realize that I sort of like, I guess you guys are gonna be like the first people to hear this. I
Damn.
gotta, I wanna
Untoldgems
start.
exclusive.
I
Yeah.
Yeah.
know, right? I want to start my own agency.
Oh,
Um,
that's amazing.
yeah, thank you. Honestly, it hasn't been more than just a thought, but I want to start my own agency. So I figured like the best way to learn is always like, YouTube University, or you just go full force and you try it yourself. But I've noticed that the best way is through networking and through communication. So
Mhm.
I took a course in communications, and I've been in a tech agency, and I'm currently in like a B2B agency, and I'm like learning everything. So when it's like my time, like I'll just, have the experience.
That's
That's so
fire.
smart.
What's
'Cause
your
Yeah.
agency like going to be about?
Yeah, so I feel like currently right now I do plan on staying in Toronto, but I do want it to sort of merge between Montreal and Toronto creators, and I wanted to stay in the small creator type of niche, because I think there's so much knowledge that a lot of people don't know in this time frame when it comes to not only just like budgeting, but also just like how to read contracts, how to negotiate, how to work with brands, how to reach out to agencies, how to reach out to brands, what to do in terms of sending a brand a contract, how to send a brand an invoice. Like there's so many things that I had to learn personally that I didn't think there was like any information for me. And so I find that a lot of these agencies, they like to work with brands that have like over 100K, 1,000 followers.
Yep.
And it really is like no pocket for people who are within the 1K to like 20K range.
Yep.
And I think
Yeah.
right now, those are the people that a lot of brands are focusing on, the small creators, because they have the reach, they have the engagement, they have the time to talk to everyone in the comments compared
I've
to
been
people
hearing
who are
this so much. I've been hearing
like,
this so
yeah, it is like the best time to be a small creator right now. Honest to God, I think anyone who is a small creator, there is still hope, because you have the time to talk to people in your DMs. You have the time to show up on the app and still be personable and still have like, I don't know, just something about you that people gravitate towards, that's just
yeah.
not pretty pictures and just
Yeah.
ignored DMs on
Mm,
where you got your person. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I just want to bring it back because you mentioned that you were working at a hospital, going to the science program. Could you just talk about how it was telling your parents or telling people around you that you're gonna drop
Oh my god.
stuck career path
mm.
That's a
for
good
YouTube full
question.
time? Because
Okay.
I can just imagine my parents like having a traumatic like arrest or something like that. So could you just
I
talk about
know.
your reaction it had, and how long did it take for the perception to change once you started doing YouTube?
Yeah, that's a good question. I will say this right now. My mother is one of those people who are like, Facebook reshare. Everyone, my daughter just posted a video, and it's like she's that type of person where for me, it wasn't a surprise that I love to like film myself. I always had like videos of me as a kid, like pretending I had a YouTube channel. Actually, me and my best friend, we had a YouTube channel like years ago too in like high school, and
Wow.
so we made videos already. So it was always like something that I always knew like for my mother she would love. For my dad, it wasn't necessarily that he didn't accept it, but he would be like, I think you're like posting too much. He's like, everyone's gonna know your routine. Don't you think that's weird? Or like you're
Mm.
filming in the bathroom? Like, why are you filming like in the bathroom? This is like a personal space. And like I would have to be like, Dad, like you gotta get with the times, you
For
know?
real.
And he would not understand it. Even now with packages coming to the house, he's like, did you cut up the box with the address? And I'm like,
My
yeah.
mom does that too. My mom
That's
does that
funny.
too.
I'm like, I cut up the box, but for him, it was always mostly about joy and just um, income. It was always like, okay, like, how do you make money from this? And so once I kind of showed him the ropes of that, and he kind of saw it, and he knew that I wasn't necessarily like going to do anything just because he knew that like, okay, this is something that I can see my daughter in, you know?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know sometimes it is really hard like to tell your parents about like a creative outlet. I think there is still a stigma on like the arts. And I personally feel like the arts is just one of those careers where like you don't see money right away. And I think that's why parents are always so scared. Because if you think
Yeah.
about somebody who wants to be an artist, a musician, a producer, like you kind of sort of don't see money right away. And it's a lot majority of the early phase is just passion,
Hmm.
and that is what's gonna literally like carry you into like conversations. It's like, you don't make money for this. Why are you still doing this? It's because I love to do it. It's because it's my passion. And eventually that starts to turn into income, and then people see it and they believe in you, and then boom.
No, yeah, it's true. It's true. I have a friend who's doing music, and it's like so slow in the beginning to just even get noticed. And sometimes the music might be like fire, but then it could be other things like marketing yourself, which is like fucking you up a bit.
Hmm.
Um, but you said you hit like you had videos that hit 1 million views and stuff like that. So before making those videos, or even after posting them, were you aware that like, okay, did you have an idea that this video might hit like this many views, or was it just like a surprise whenever you hit your first like 1 million view video?
I think I was very tactical. I'm like already sort of a very like researchy person, so I actually um love to kind of see what other creators are doing in terms of like the things that I'm interested in. And during that time, I remember one time I like kind of like posted about like sugar wax and like how to make wax. And I think I got a lot of interest from it. And then I decided, okay, like let me just make a video. And I think a large part of that video was not only the time that I posted it in, it was also a pandemic time where people were not able to just go and get beauty. You
Hmm.
know, they can walk into salon and get like a pampering routine. More people were now searching how to this, how can I this,
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like how to
you know
cut
what I
your
mean?
hair and stuff
Yeah,
like
how to
that.
cut my hair at home for the first time with like scissors. Like people were
Yeah.
just searching up nonsense. And for me, I leveraged on that. So a large part of my videos were like about like how to this, how to that, how to make sugar scrubs, how to like reduce this. And from there, I use platforms like TubeBuddy. I don't know if you guys know TubeBuddy.
No, what is
No,
it?
not me. No.
I love telling people about
I'm
TubeBuddy.
like, shit, what am I missing out on?
Okay, well, first of all, I keep doing this because I'm using the light from my so as a YouTuber, right? I think you guys should definitely use TubeBuddy. It's a platform where basically it's a search engine platform that basically tells you what's trending, how to title your videos on YouTube that sees the most engagement, what other people are using, the types of hashtags that are also seeing engagement, and really just like all of that in general. So like when I'm posting a YouTube video, and let's say I did a get ready with me, and I see that right now get ready with me for Halloween, that specific title is trending compared to
Mm.
get ready with me. I would
Mm,
know to use that video so
Mm.
that way when people are searching that title, my video is most likely ranking in the like the first 10.
yeah,
And like
that's so
those are
smart.
the types of
Gem.
things, yeah, those are the types of things
That's
that I
fire.
would look for. Yeah. And it literally doesn't even stop there. It's also with hashtags. You'll start searching up hashtags. It'll tell you 30 people searched this within the last hour. That's the hashtag that you want to start using. And so I
Mm.
would start doing that, and I would see how many viewers I would get on that specific video in like an hour. And I just leveraged on that.
And you really
No,
noticed the
that's
difference, like, when you started doing that?
Oh, 100%, 100%. And for me, like I didn't know how else to title it. I think you like when you search things up, you'll see like a title, and it only makes sense to title your videos about the topic that you're talking about, right? But then
Yeah.
also, if you realize some people actually put hashtags in titles. I don't know if you noticed that,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
that also helps
sometimes.
as well. Yeah, that
Like,
that
no.
also helps, yeah. So for example, if this is like influencing 101, like I would create that influencing 101, how to be a content creator slash 2022. And I think even the year makes a huge difference because
Mhm.
people want relevant information, you
Yeah, for
know?
sure.
Yeah, like when I'm clicking a video and it's made in like 2019, I'm like,
If it's
okay,
old, I'm like, I don't care.
yeah, like I don't care. I want the most relevant
Yeah, me
information. So
too. I do the same
getting
thing.
dates and stuff was like always like bonus.
Yeah.
So would you have made your video and then to choose the title you would use TubeBuddy, or would you also using the titles that are now relevant think, okay, maybe I can make this type of video?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think I did a little bit of both. Once I made my video, I would sort of have an idea of what I wanted to title it. I would go in, check and see like how that sentence is doing. If it was maybe above 70-80% and I really love the title, I'd keep it. If I realized I was performing like 40%, I'm like, I don't really know about this. So I would search a title, see what other people are doing, and it would be like one missing word, lifestyle.
Mm,
I'd put
Wow.
lifestyle in there, all of a sudden it's 80%. And I'm like, all right, that's good. You know what I
yeah.
mean? I'm okay with that. And on the other side of that, I would search up YouTubers that I would watch and I would see all of their analytics on the side. I would see how their hashtags performed. I would see how their title performed, even like
Wait,
up
so
to their
with
watch hours.
TubeBuddy, you can see
That's
this?
crazy.
You can see everything. You can see analytics. You can see how many views their last 30 videos did. You can see how
That's
many
crazy.
followers they
I'm
did
Y-
so
in the
mad
last.
that I've never heard of this.
Is
Yeah,
this free or this is too good
it's
to be free?
free.
That's
Yeah,
It's
free.
let me
free.
No
go let me
way.
go
That's
download this right now.
No
yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah.
It's a part of the YouTube acceleration. So like I can see within the last week how many followers you got in a week.
That's
I can see
insane.
That's
that on your
crazy.
channel and you can see
Yeah,
that on my channel if you have TubeBuddy.
I'm getting it.
Okay. So when you said like you were tactical about things, you actually were tactical. It wasn't like
Yeah,
it wasn't an
100.
accident.
It
Okay,
wasn't.
that's fair.
I always did. I felt like there was like no information for these types of things for me.
Hmm.
So it really took like YouTube to really start searching and really just seeing how like other people were growing. And I would always see the high performance videos, which you can also just see for free on YouTube. If you just kind of just change the sort of like the view, you can see
Yeah.
like this person's first video or like their most
Mm.
popular video. And I would say, okay,
Hmm.
like I love creators' videos. I love to watch her. I watch her in full. That was a big thing. Someone who's engaging. I would say, let's see what videos that they were doing that did really well. And I'd be like, okay, morning routine. Does it align with me? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I always ask myself that question because even if it's monetary in the way, if there's a brand that wants to work with me, if it doesn't align, that I don't care. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? It always had to have been something that's true to me because like I really am like big on like authenticity and like
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
coming
Me
online
too.
and really just like doing things that I actually do in like real life.
Yeah,
No, I
yeah.
think that's the best way to go about it because you want like it's your face in front of it at the end of the
Yeah.
day. So like you don't want to be
Exactly.
promoting products that
Yeah, it's your personal
obviously,
brand and like
yeah.
people start to feel when a content creator becomes like non-authentic. Like you can feel
Yeah,
it
tell them.
almost.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
it's at
everyone
the
says
top
you're
like
selling out, you're selling out.
yeah, you always know when they start to sell
You
out. You're like,
always
"Oh,
know. You can see it.
yeah.
And that's what sucks with like the trends and stuff too, because you're like, "Ugh, like, are you doing this because like you know this
Hmm.
person went viral, or does it actually align with you? You know,
Yeah.
like you can tell.
Yeah, it's true. I want to ask about monetization. Like back then when in 2018, had they already changed the like getting monetized thing where you have to get 4,000 hours? I think it was around 2018, no? When they
It
changed.
was horrible. I think I joined at like the worst time because yeah, you did not need all of that nonsense. You didn't need it.
Yeah, I
And
remember
it's
you didn't need to get 4,000 hours, 1,000
no,
subs.
you didn't need. So right now I think when I started it was 4,000 watch hours
Yeah,
and 1,000 subscribers.
that's right.
And I
Yeah.
can't remember, is that what it is now still?
Yeah,
Hmm.
Yeah,
same
I
thing.
can't remember what it was that I got first. And I think it was the watch hours because I remember like that one video did really well. So like you may get the watch hours, but then you're like, oh fuck. Like
I'm in
two
the
Yeah.
opposite boat. I'm in the opposite boat. Like I'm about to hit 1,000 subs, but I'm like only halfway down my watch time, and I'm like, guys, please just watch my videos. You know?
I know. And I love your videos. And you know what? I'm going to say this right now. It actually does. It takes time. Everything takes time because even when you get to that stage, you're like, finally, I made it. And like, you get excited because you get the emails and you apply for it, but it takes a minute. I'm not going to lie to you.
Hmm.
Everything is always a month delayed. So that's just basically how you get paid. So like, you know, let's say you were to like reach that goal in January, like everything really only starts showing in like end of February to
Oh my
March
god.
and
Yeah.
you have to get that 100 threshold, which for the most part, it would be easy if you got to 4,000 and people are watching your videos. And the really great part of it is the fact that like you are always going to constantly get paid from all of your videos.
Yeah,
So
like the
even
old ones too.
yeah,
That's
all the videos that people are watching from 3 months ago, you're still getting paid. And I think this is one thing that I think I just want to say too, that I think a lot of people forget. Every video that like you're creating right now, like sort of needs to count. Like you have to have that goal that like this video is already making money,
yeah.
because when it eventually makes money, you'll realize that a lot of the videos that you have don't qualify. And that's one thing that I think fucking sucks.
Yeah.
And you know what it is? It's always the music.
The music.
It's the music. It's the time frame of the video. Anything less than like 10 minutes, you'll realize you cannot monetize and put ads on because the video is too short. So like those are things that is just so frustrating that you realize later that like you'll get like other companies don't want to put ads on like videos that are so tiny, because if it's like 5 minutes and there are ads in 5 minutes, you're like, shit, it's a 5-minute video. Like, why are
Like
there
no one
ads
wants to see that many ads in 5 minutes.
5 minutes? So anything past 10 minutes, they'll tell you that you have to go through checks. If you're like, you
That was
know,
my
constantly
video.
swears, like they check for that. It's so annoying.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy
But
because a lot of the like a lot of things that are recommended from what I've watched on YouTube, a lot of people say like, oh, make a lot of like I guess 5 to 10 minute long videos, shoot them all out so that you can like get like get a lot of views and stuff. But it's like it kind of sucks when you're making short videos and then they don't even qualify for any ads, you know? So it's kind of
yeah,
hard to know really what to do.
I agree with that. But keep in mind, like the way you do still get paid is through watch hours. So
Yeah,
regardless, even
true.
if you can put ads on those videos, if people are watching a 5-minute video in full, it's pushing out.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
for
you might not
sure.
have ads on it, but that's how you're making your money. So I still think it's a good thing, but I think the longer videos, that's where you'll really see like that, the like higher percentages of ads going on.
Yeah,
So
that's good
let's
to
say
know.
it's like 9 minutes and 30 seconds. That doesn't qualify?
You know what? I still think it's okay. They may just be able to add one. They'll
Oh, okay,
probably
I
add
see.
one. And the beauty of it is that you get to kind of choose where you want your ads,
Yeah,
which
you
is
can
like cool.
strategically place them.
Yeah, like before, like you wouldn't be able to, and YouTube would do it, and they would do it at like the weirdest moments. But they're smart about it. It'd be like the cliffhanger, like today
Yeah.
I want to teach you 5, and all of a sudden there's an ad. You're like, shit, 5 what?
Yeah,
You know what I
I
mean?
always see YouTubers doing that where it's like literally
Oh,
a cliffhanger all the
it's
time.
so annoying, but it's like tactical, you know.
Yeah, it
Only
makes you
you might
watch
have it
it.
at the beginning. You know, you put the ad on the beginning before the video because you know people are like, oh my god, I got to sit through this because I at least want to watch like the first 10 seconds of it.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
yeah, I guess that's the beauty of it.
Mm. Okay, so let's talk about it. Like, I don't know how transparent you want to be, but in terms of
Oh yeah.
CPM, and I know some niches perform better than others, right? So I don't know about the beauty, how that is. I'm sure it's a good category, right? Because people are into that,
Mhm.
I guess. So yeah, talk
Okay.
a bit about that.
Yeah, I have a lot to say about that because I'm not going to lie to you. I like to categorize myself as nicheless, and there's a reason for that. But the thing is like I like to say I'm nicheless, but you know my niche
Mm.
if you see my content. So like when I see creators categorized as like fashion content creator, food influencer, automatically I see that as like you're putting yourself in a box. Like
Yeah.
that's my mindset has it's always been like, okay, so like I can only see food here, which is not a it's not a bad thing. And I think there's still a good um thing about like just sticking to something because you know people are always going to come back for those videos. But I think for me, like the way I've seen growth on like TikTok and like my socials and even just working with really large like brands, I would say was because I was nicheless and I was able to kind of do everything. So
Mm.
I would still get pitched from like a fashion blog, but you don't see me constantly pushing out fashion.
Yeah.
I would get a food video, like a brand or a restaurant wanting me to come try their food, but I don't just constantly push out food, you
Yeah.
know? You know what I mean? So I feel like it's just like sort of being nicheless or at least categorizing yourself as like a bigger brand, like lifestyle, beauty, it allows you sort of to tap into like a lot.
Well,
Mm.
it's more like you're your own personal brand. It's not like you are a foodie, you know, it's like you're a
Yeah.
personal brand and it's you, which I
Yep.
really like too, because I'm always like I'm the definition of somebody that cannot choose a niche. Like I literally I've gone from fitness to beauty to Amazon to finance to like anything, you know? And so I'm
Yeah.
kind of the same way where like I used to be like, how can I like niche down my content? And I actually tried to make like a separate IG once for like a certain niche, but like that just I did not like it. I really
No.
like to have my own like I don't know, I like to do a mix of
Yeah.
different niches. So I really like I'm happy that you say that because a lot of people will say focus on just one niche. But I'm glad that you said that because it makes sense that like you'll be able to get brand deals with not only like restaurants but anyone pretty
Mhm.
much.
And
So
you'll become personable. I literally say this. If you become sort of like the go-to person for a little bit of everything. You know what I mean? Like someone like we're like, oh, I love like Sasha's fitness, but she also like may pop in like a food routine. You know what I mean? And it's like a
yeah,
food what she ate for breakfast. And if it's not, she's teaching me how to save. And I'm like, oh, like this is a page I want to go to for
yeah.
everything. Like, why not? You know?
It's true, and like sometimes I'll go through my Instagram and I'll clean up like who I'm following because like I end up following too many people and I'll unfollow some pages that I'm just like oh I don't really care. And typically it's the pages that are really niched down. Like if it's a foodie page, I'll be like you know what I don't really need to follow this page. But the people that I don't unfollow are the influencers that I got to know who I like
Yeah.
built or like I feel like I know them. I feel like I built a relationship with them even though they're not even talking to me, right? And so I think it's really important to like focus on who you actually are and like to speak to your audience and be an actual person. So I really like that you said that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So I wanted to touch on it as well quickly, and after that we can move on. But like at its peak of like your YouTube or like your most viewed video, how much were you getting paid? Because I think a lot of people that want to do YouTube want to know like how it works, what's the potential with it, and how much will I make if I actually hit a mil on a YouTube video?
You know what's so crazy about that is like I've definitely fell into the trap of watching one of those videos on YouTube, and I
Yeah.
would literally say they're never really truly accurate. It's
Mm.
difficult. The one thing I can say is that for the first few months after making that video, I was making about 1,200, and I was like, I remember like that first video being like, holy crap, like this is crazy. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
oh my god. But then suddenly you'll realize that like those numbers start to change. All of a sudden, it's like
Mhm.
700 and something, 800 and something, 1,000, 300, and you're like, oh my god, this is short months. And that's why I always say that like you always have to have something else on the side.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like as
It's not
much as
always
you might
Mhm.
love
consistent.
YouTube, you know what I mean? As much as you might love YouTube, especially at the beginning, always have something on the side because those numbers fluctuate. They change. You no longer see $1,000, you might see 800, and all of a sudden you're like, shit, I can't buy Uber Eats. That's my red money.
Yeah, for real.
And do you know like what video made you the most, like a single video, what made you the most amount of money and how much it was?
Yeah, it was that
The sugar scrub one?
the the wax one, which still
Oh,
makes me the most money. That was
wow.
the one, yeah, and that was
So 2 years
actually
later, it's still making
yeah,
you the most
it's
money.
still making me money, and that's why I say like it's always really good to like make sure that you're putting out content that you really love because those are the videos that like you can continue to promote.
Hmm.
And you know what? Sometimes it has like sorry, my video just played because I'm like searching up my stuff. But
Okay.
sometimes you realize like you can always like leverage in those moments, right? Like for me personally, like I'm not as active as I used to, but I just recently worked with what's it called? Like a sugar waxing company that does like aftercare for waxing. And like while the product is like the focus, I always, always, always put myself first, regardless. Like,
Yep.
yeah, like this is the product I'm promoting, but if you actually want to learn more about how to actually wax, check out my video.
Yeah.
Mm.
And those brands have
Mhm.
no harm in that as long as you're mentioning the aftercare and the product.
Yeah.
So I would always still have people be like, I just watched your video. And I'm like, that's exactly how you want it to be.
Mm.
Yeah.
Leverage on the moments, all those little videos that you guys make and you see them doing really well, pop into the comments, like take one of those comments and like respond to them. And that's why I love TikTok because I think that's where like you'll get a lot of people just really just putting themselves on, you know?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do
to
you
talk
do you
about like recycling content, 'cause I think that's something that, especially for like micro brands or micro influencers, that's something
Uh,
like we don't like implement as often as we should. And you like mentioned the big brands. That's basically they recycle the same content over and over, just repackage it all the time. So you could
I
talk
just
about
realized
how
your name is Wizard, right?
yeah, Charles in real life.
Is this your real name?
No.
That'd be
No.
fire. That'd be fire if it was
That
a
would be
real
such
name.
a sick name. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh. Okay, cool. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say, can you just talk about like how someone can like implement those type of strategies as a micro influencer?
I think this is actually a really good question. And I also think you're putting me on the spot with this one because I do not do this. And it's
Oh,
one of those things that I think has me where I am on Instagram. And I used to really care about following on Instagram until I realized that I was in spaces with people who have such larger Instagram following. And I realized it didn't matter to me to grow my channel as I once thought. But I also think that what's difficult about repurposing content is that you have two different audiences. On Instagram, I have the audience that are high school friends and
Mm,
pregnant friends and married
Mm-hmm.
friends and maybe a splash of people who actually just are for my content and then also people who just like love anything that I do. And so I'm working with those type of people versus like a whole new like brand of who I am on TikTok, which is why that I focus a lot of my content on TikTok. And I don't necessarily repurpose it because I don't think it'll get the same type of like love in the same way.
yeah.
And I also feel like Instagram just has this like odd stigma. You almost like I'm still nervous. It's so weird.
Me
I don't
too.
think anyone ever gets over the nerves, girl. Like I don't think anyone gets over the nerves. I
Like we
really
talk about
don't.
this all the time because like we're always like, how do we have like no problem? Like I don't have any problem posting on Twitter, even
No.
TikTok. I don't care. YouTube, I do not care. But every time I post on Instagram, I'm like my heart is
It's
pounding like right before
cringe.
I press send. You know?
Yeah, and I would post the same video. Like sometimes when I work with brands, it'll be a TikTok video, because that's sort of how I group my rates, like depending on how I like would pitch myself. I would most likely pitch I would most likely approve for TikTok, and I would never really say yes to like Instagram, depending on what I want. But if it is a group rate that I would do, and I'm posting the same video, which is what Wizard. Is it okay if I call you Wizard?
yeah, sure.
What Wizard has mentioned, right? Sometimes there are brands that sort of like want you to sort of have a package where like you're posting a YouTube video or a TikTok and a
Mhm.
TikTok.
Yeah.
Or they'll say, can I get a TikTok and use that TikTok also on Instagram without the watermark? And so sometimes that does happen where I would repurpose the same type of video and I would still get like cringy posting it on Instagram and no
Mm.
problems on TikTok.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
I think it's just because like for maybe it's just for like our age groups like that Instagram was kind of like our actually I guess we all had Facebook too, but like I don't know, me in high school, like everyone started having Instagram. So like I still have people that I don't even speak to on Instagram, right? Like I have
Yeah.
people from like Sec 3 that I literally don't I think it was in Sec 3 that I got Instagram or Sec 4. And I'm literally following these same people that I have not spoken to since high school. And I think
No.
that's where the nerves come from because I think most of us or like most people in our age group all had Instagram from such a young age of like people we don't even know anymore. And
Mhm.
it's just hard to do something that's like different for people who know who you were in high school. It's really hard to like I don't know, it's hard to do that.
It
But
is, and I also wanted to sort of elaborate a little bit more on the question that he asked. But I think this is sort of the reason why I also really like YouTube because in the amount of time that I've been on this platform, they have changed a lot in terms of like even having YouTube Shorts. So
yeah.
they're like really, I think you see it also even with Reels. Like you see people like these companies or these whatever are like trying to like have like the TikTok way. And
Yeah.
so people are implementing what those viral videos are on Instagram and TikTok and trying to do it on YouTube. But I personally feel like they're not the same because I don't think people sit and watch shorts. Like I
Yeah, I
personally,
don't.
No,
Yeah.
but honestly, like I used to think that, but like because I'm not a big TikTok user, just because like it takes up so much of my time every time I
yeah,
do it. So and like I don't know, I never for some reason I never was able to like connect a lot to TikTok. I don't know why. I think it's because back in the day when TikTok first came out, I was like, oh, I don't want to see people dancing, you know?
yeah,
But now like but now when I go on TikTok, I get like I learn like 100 new things every time I go on TikTok and I'm like this is crazy. But like I spend so much time on it that like whenever I see the TikTok app, I'm like I'm just not going to click on it because I know I'm going to go down this like rabbit hole of I don't even know what. So honestly, like because I don't use TikTok, I do use YouTube Shorts quite often cuz like which it sounds weird but like I go on YouTube Shorts a lot because I don't use TikTok. So like you'd be surprised. I think it's like an underrated place to post your
Yeah.
videos because not a lot of people are posting their videos there. And literally, you can just repurpose the same TikTok and just stick it onto YouTube. And I have a friend, actually, I have two friends. I have this one friend from my high school who he has 100K subs on YouTube. He's never posted a YouTube video. He's only posted his TikToks. I swear to God. And
I would love for you to send me that, his page.
he has the 100K plaque from YouTube for 100K just from his shorts.
The shorts.
I
That's
swear to God, like I'm not even joking. And I have another friend who she grew a lot on TikTok, and she just started, like, she's planning on doing YouTube soon. And so she started posting her shorts or her TikToks on shorts, and she already has like 100 and something subs from just posting her TikToks onto YouTube Shorts.
Interesting.
And
The
like
thing is, though, I'm
it's
kind of
crazy.
like, it's interesting to hear that because the same rules for monetization I feel like apply in terms of like if you're using a TikTok sound on TikTok, right? This is why I love TikTok because you could still like post the song without it getting
Yeah.
copyright. But if you move that onto YouTube, you get copyright. So it's
Yeah,
like,
you
how
get
do you?
copyright. It's so annoying. So like I post our podcast reels on Shorts. I just started doing it, but I can't post any of the old ones that we made from Instagram because of the music. So
Because of
that's the one thing
music.
that's annoying, but just like you need to just have a like a third party app like or whatever to call it, like CapCut, something like that.
Yeah.
Just have the video without music
Yes.
beforehand and just post it, and you can put music on it with YouTube afterwards. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's annoying to have to like, post a video 3 times with different music and have to line up the music every time. It's so annoying. And sometimes I can't even find the same audio from IG
Yeah.
on YouTube Shorts, but like trust me, like there's a small amount of people looking at YouTube Shorts that like
Wow.
which makes it makes it a lot easier to be found because there's not a lot of people looking at them. But I
That's
can
actually good
say that I'm
perspective.
one of those people that watch them. So
Good to
it's
know. That's a good, I've never really, I love that. That's good. I might
and
consider.
it might bring more audience to your YouTube channel. So like even if you're not posting as much on YouTube, if you're posting your TikToks on YouTube, maybe that will still bring more traffic to your channel even though you're not posting as much, you know?
That's true. You're so right. Regardless. Yeah. Yeah. Very good to know.
Um
Sasha's gonna start her social media agency.
yeah, literally, let me join your
Yes,
agency.
I'm gonna hire you, girl. You're gonna be the finance budgeting.
Let's go.
You're gonna handle all of that for me.
But I
Well,
have one more question about YouTube just before we
Yeah.
yeah.
finish the YouTube section. Do you remember how long it took you to get monetized? Just out of curiosity.
I think like 3 months. I told you
Wow.
it was fast for me. I think maybe 3 to 4 months. And
That's
also, I
crazy.
think the large part of it was because of the timing. It was because I was
Yeah.
coming off of like it was like beginning COVID, people were
Yeah.
home. Like I also had like already like 10 videos in. Like so I
Yeah.
think that literally was because if I start today, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's
I'm like a couple months in and I'm like I'm not there yet.
Yeah, but
But
you
I'm
will
not
be
ending
easily
anytime soon.
close. Yes, good, good, good,
Yeah.
good.
I wanted to talk a bit about like, did you ever have a team when you were like doing YouTube every week, every 2 weeks? Did you ever build a team where it was like thumbnail people, editors, or were you doing it all yourself?
Yeah, that's
I
a
was
good
doing it
question.
all myself. And I would say that it was definitely a growing learning curve because I started off with my phone, which I think a lot of people do until they learn to invest in themselves.
Yeah.
So I started off with my phone and I was using like a third party app like CapCut, but it wasn't CapCut. I think I used like iMovie for iPhone, I think.
Yeah, there's an
Um,
app for it.
and when I tell you it was difficult, it was like just pinching things and it was like, oh, it was like the
Yeah, you
worst,
have to like
especially
cut like
and the phone memory and storage just
oh, it's the worst
horrible.
part. The worst part.
Yeah, and I had to like invest in a camera, which was a good timing for me because I probably made my first paycheck, and I was like, okay, like this should go towards this. I don't mind. I was working anyways, so it didn't really matter. Um, and so, sorry, what was the question again?
Did you
Oh,
have
did
a
you have a
team?
team?
Oh yes. And so, no, I did not have a team. I used Canva for my thumbnails. I used the eraser app if I wanted a thumbnail, but I didn't want like the background of whatever I wanted. You know what I mean? So I kind of was like a very handy person. And I kind of like to go through it too. Like even if I were to tell you all the apps that I use, like I still use them. You know, I used Unum at the time. It's called UNUM, and that was actually to look at
Ah,
my
I've heard
feed.
of that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually to look at my feed until I actually put two and two together and I realized that like I can do this on the photo, like the camera app. If I create an album and I
Right.
put
That's so
all of
smart.
my pictures that are on my feed in my picture album, I would be able to see my feed that way and move things around for
Yeah, that's
free.
so
All these
smart.
apps eventually like want to charge you, and it's just
Yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I would use Canva for like my thumbnails. I would use like CapCut and InShot to like make my videos for like my reels and stuff. But a large part of my editing, investing in myself, I ended up getting what's it called, Final Cut Pro,
Mm.
which was like a one-time payment, and I ended up falling in love with that over iMovie. I
It's
felt
a
like it
lot
was,
Mm.
better.
A
yeah,
lot of
I thought,
people say that. Like a lot of people say iMovie is trash.
oh my God, it's trash. And you know what's funny? The first day that you start to use Final Cut Pro, you're like, I miss iMovie. Like, this is too much for me.
More
But
Mm.
then you
complicated, I
realize, like,
guess.
yeah, because it's just, iMovie's so simple that you can't do anything but cut and crop.
Basically,
Yeah,
And
literally.
you can't even do nothing. Maybe you can
Like
do
that's
like an
great for
overlay.
beginners.
It really is. But then when you learn Final Cut Pro, I think that's where I got so excited in editing. And I started to hear people say, like, I love how you edit your videos. And it was because I was clicking through everything. I was using overlays. I was using different types of fonts because the font category that they give you is like immaculate. I was using transitions, the sounds that they give you. You know what I mean? Everything was just so much easier to like and
Mm.
fun that I loved editing. And like that's how I made like editing like super, super fun for me. Um, and then what else? Pinterest for inspiration.
Right.
I
Yeah,
use
a lot of
Pinterest.
people do that now.
Yeah, and then honestly, that's really it in terms of like apps that I use that are like super like on my phone or
Yeah.
whatnot.
But so you
But yeah,
basically done everything yourself since day one? Like you've never
since
hired.
day one, I never hired. I did all the editing myself. All of that, I did it all, and I truly enjoyed it. But like, it's different because I think not even really to like digress or whatever, but I think in terms of like when you're working with brands, a lot of the times you realize that like nothing is like super final. So you'll
Mm,
always find yourself sometimes like going back and editing, and that's kind of where you kind of wish you had a team because you're just like, oh, like
Hmm.
you
they
have to
don't
go
like
back
the
and
fact
redo
that,
everything.
yeah, they're like, oh, and that's why in my contracts I always say like max 2 edits because
That's
you know
smart.
like I cannot like this. Sometimes it's ridiculous. Sometimes you know what, for a large amount of time I can hit it on the nail and I have no edits, maybe 2 edits. And the edits is like, oh, you pronounced it like wrong, you know, like the name of the
Oh
product.
my God.
And so like if you do a voiceover, it is the worst. And that is why I try
Mm.
to talk in real time, because if I have to do it in real time, it's either I do the whole video over and that sucks even worse,
Yeah.
or I can just change the audio on voice note and I can just redo it because you can hear the
Yeah.
difference in if it's a different day, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, though I would say that's when like I wish I would have a team, because there are some brands that are like, hey, we love this video, but like I wish you closed the door. And I'm like, ah, and you want me to
You have to
redo this
redo
video?
everything. Yeah, that's crazy.
It's
That's funny.
ridiculous. Yeah.
No, but like I've gone through similar situations, not with brands or anything yet. We'll see
Yeah.
about that coming soon, hopefully. But I've had situations where like I for example, I was editing a video where I had to put like one clip from my camera onto a screen recording from my computer. And basically I cut the clips from my camera before cutting the clips. Like I should have just done them together so that they
Mm.
match up. But then I ended up having to do them completely separately, which took me like 3 hours to put the clips together. Anyways, I just did it really stupidly. But it's like not to explain technically how to do all of that, but it's just like there's little things like that with editing that if you make one little mistake and have to redo everything, it can take you literally hours for one video.
Hours.
And it's crazy. Like at that point, I was like, "Oh my God! Like, is YouTube even worth it?" In my head,
Yeah.
I was like,
Is it
"What the
worth,
hell?"
I think I remember that actually. I think, yeah, I remember you posting that. And it's honestly,
Probably.
it's not even that too, but it's also like the more videos you make, you realize like, oh crap, like I don't even feel like I have enough storage. And then you find yourself like investing in things like, you know, like I have a camera here, but I also have like one of these things where it's like easy for
Me
me to
too.
like plug in my phone or plug into to like just transfer files. I have like a large USB so that there's like
Yeah.
more space on my computer to
Yeah,
just
it's like you need a camera, then you need a mic, then you need an SD card, then you need like
ah,
a cord for your SD card. Like there's just so many things that you need when it comes to any type of like job in the technology or
yeah.
like any type of content creation. It's crazy. Like there's so much. Although I
Yeah.
guess with like Reels, it's so easy because you just need an iPhone and CapCut, basically.
Mhm. But then you start to realize when people are like, post 4 pictures of things and you're like, oh God, all I have is videos.
Yeah.
Like I don't take pictures of anything anymore. But I guess like that's where I would say like I wish I sort of like I guess had a team where I can just
Yeah.
hand the camera over and they make the edits. And I've been pitched that before. I've been pitched by people like, like I would love to edit, but I think that it's just when you can edit your own videos, there's like a personality
I was gonna
Mm.
that I
say
think
it's less
other people,
personal.
yeah, like other people can't catch it really.
Yeah.
They might think these moments are like funny moments, but I think it's like the way you edit that makes the video like really just like
Yeah.
yourself.
And like we've worked with people who were gonna be making our reels and stuff, or like like we've tried to work with people from Fiverr,
Oh,
and like wait, is my thing glitching?
no.
Oh, sorry, sorry,
No.
sorry, 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 sorry. Okay. Anyways, we've tried to work with people from like Fiverr, for example, to help us make reels and like YouTube or not even the YouTube videos, but just like reels. And I've tried to hire people for my like to help me with YouTube, and honestly, like sometimes it's just like they don't understand what you want, and it's like you
No.
spend more time writing out a huge paragraph explaining them what to do than if you just actually did it yourself. So I
Yeah.
think outsourcing it is important when you're like when your business gets to a certain point, I guess, because at some point you just won't have enough time to keep like creating
Mhm.
at a rate that you should be. So I think it could be helpful, but it's like it's really hard to give away those tasks because we want them to be the way that we want them to be, right? So
Yeah.
we've had horrible situations with people from Fiverr that just they couldn't like we were like, please just do it exactly like this, and they
Yeah.
couldn't do it.
They don't get it.
Yeah,
It
it's so
happens.
hard. Like it's more work that way.
I sent the guy a reel of like I told him in caps like please do exactly this, like just the same thing, just this is exactly what we want, and he sends back like a completely different thing, and with like commas and like
There's like
weird
emojis
emojis
flying everywhere.
behind the text, and I
Oh,
was like,
Oh,
whoa, like
people think
how?
that's how people like to watch videos, but it's really not.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know
No,
why.
And then
yeah, I had
Chris,
a
just
throwback.
last thing, Chris was like, he's like, one last time, I'm gonna tell you, like, can you please just copy this exact video?
oh
And then
yeah,
the
I
guy,
can't take these people, but like
and
it
then the
was
guy,
like 4 times going back and forth with them of like saying please exactly, and it's like less work for them because what we're asking for is literally
yeah, we're
minimalistic.
asking
It's
him
like
like, stop doing so much, like, please do less.
yeah, you're doing extra shit, and it's like
For
whatever.
nothing.
But
Like
And then
for what?
literally Chris is like, one last time, please do it like this. And the guy literally cancels the order and he's like, good luck.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
Oh,
you quit
basically he
on
well,
it.
quit. Yeah, he quit.
Good,
good,
come
good,
with us.
good. We need to get rid of those
But
type of people.
Exactly.
I wanted to ask just a quick technical question. Do you keep all of your original files like after the or before the edit or no? What?
It would
Listen,
be
I'm not
impossible
gonna
to do that, Chris.
Okay,
listen,
that's what I was thinking because I delete everything like once like
I I delete everything. And I'm not gonna lie to you. There's 2 reasons why I delete everything. One, for space. Sometimes I'm just like, okay,
yeah.
I need to clear it on my computer, but it can stay onto my camera until I actually just need space to delete things. You know
Hmm.
what I mean?
Yep.
2, or my USB. Like I kind of always transfer files, so it's not necessarily the whole video I'm saving. I'm just the individual files I'll save. 2, I kind of like the idea that like YouTube like has this platform where I can like go back and watch a video and download it anyways.
Yeah, I was gonna say you
So
can download
sometimes I'm just like,
Yeah.
pardon?
I was gonna say, yeah, you can download them.
You can download the video. So sometimes I'm just like, okay, maybe I'm deleting this whole like Toronto vlog, but I also know that I can go back and watch it again on YouTube and it won't go away and I can
Hmm.
download it. And
Yeah.
I've never had an instance where like I'm like, oh shoot, I had needed that video from like 2 years ago.
Yeah, the original. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if we got into it, but like, what was the reason why you stopped, or did we
YouTube?
get into that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
No.
Not fully, no.
yeah. So what happened, or like, was it because of the team? Was it you just got like tired of it? I know YouTube is hard. I started the episode with that, but like, what happened?
Yeah, I would say there's a lot of factors. One, I think I really enjoyed the short videos that I was
Hmm.
creating. I thought it was just easier. I didn't have to hop online and worry about like, editing. I could do all that stuff on my phone. I realized how like effortless it was too because I find those type of effortless videos always did better than the ones that you sat down for hours like editing to make it all like,
Yeah.
go, you know what I mean? Like I also found that. And then I think as I kind of gotten more like submerged into this like whole like YouTube content creation, day in the life, I realized that like it's very like routined to a point where sometimes like you sort of want to keep things to like yourself. And everything I post, I clearly want it to be seen, you know? So I've never posted something and be like, oh, like people are all in my business. Like I just think it's like at that point, like why post it? But I
Yeah.
think I've learned to like have like the beauty of living in the moment. And this was probably like one of the first years that I think I've done so much that I did not record. And like I don't regret any of it.
Mm.
Like I did so much this summer. Like I went to Portugal and that was the only
I
thing
was
that I
about to say
actually,
Portugal.
yeah, I actually recorded Portugal. And that was the one thing that I told myself I would do. But everything else, I realized like how much I enjoyed living in the moment and how much I was missing from being like
Yeah.
this the whole time. Like, yes, I'm capturing everything and I'm editing it and I'm watching it in real life, but like, I'm not gonna lie to you, majority of the times I was always like, da da
Yeah,
da
you're
da da
working.
da.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's still very fun, but I realized like, I can do that still on TikTok. It's more efficient, faster,
Yeah.
quicker, and I didn't have to like worry about just like people watching videos. And because
Hmm.
I'm not gonna lie to you, this summer I barely sat and watched a lot of my bigger content creators. I barely watched them, and I realized them as well. Like they were barely posting. They were
Yeah.
all on TikTok.
It's true. There's a big transition to short form
Yeah.
content. But I also noticed that TikTok is introducing 10-minute long videos. And I think Instagram too, they have like 1 minute long stories. So
Yeah.
I don't think long form content is going anywhere. I still think that
Mm.
it's gonna be a big thing, I hope, at least.
I know.
um
I know. I do too.
but what do you think is like the best benefit of TikTok? Like what's your TikTok or like how successful do you think your TikTok has been since you started posting on TikTok?
I would definitely say it was easier to grow before than it is now. And
Oh,
I think a large part of that is because of how accessible it has been to everybody. People who didn't think they had the confidence, the courage to make videos are making it now. And even the people who they used to be the, your prime watchers, somebody who would always be in your comments and watching, those same people are seeing how fun and easy it is to do that they are now creating their own content. So I think
mm,
there's like a beauty to it where people who, want to talk about something can hop online, no makeup, effortless, create content, and that video, even if their first video, can still do numbers. I think
Mm.
that is the reason why I think I really like TikTok. And I think even Chris, you mentioned something about music, and I think it's like the platform in itself, people are seeing it as a marketing tool, which is a really good thing. But I think people are also seeing it as like the end all tell all. Like in
Mm.
order for you to succeed, you have to be on TikTok. Oh, you want this song to go blow up, you have to make a dance challenge on
Yeah.
TikTok.
Yeah.
Like
mhm.
I have not heard of anything creative in like the last few months aside from you have to just be on TikTok.
Yeah.
It's so true. It's so true.
It's like
Yeah.
okay, but like there's other ways, but no one cares
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
But like, what advice would you have for that? For that, my friend, like his music is actually very good. He produces everything. He makes fire music, but it's just the visibility. Like his social media
Mhm.
presence is not as strong as it should be. So where should he go? Like if he was your client, let's say,
If he was,
and
I guess, yeah, that's a really good question. I think for the most part, I would say the best way you can sort of have people see that your music not only can like connect with them, or for example, if you were like a candle company or something like that, is to have your own content for yourself and hype yourself up. There's nothing like sort of plugging in your content or your music or your sound or your aesthetic in like what's going on right now. And I see that happen a lot where, for example, there may be like a trend and you're pushing out your music under that sound all the time.
mm,
You're
Mhm.
talking all the time, you're speaking, you're pushing your music under that sound. You're hopping online and you're like advocating for yourself. And that might be annoying to some people, but I think a lot of people are forgetting how powerful it is to sort of speak for yourself and like
yeah,
confident in how you do that. You know what I
mm,
mean? I think a lot of times like we look at marketing and we see it as a tool, and I think it is still a great tool, but I think it really like it shouldn't always just be like tactical if you want
hmm,
to grow. Push your content out there, advocate for yourself, hop online, tell people about the music, connected to trends. And I think that is like the best way outside of only like working with influencers on TikTok or, you know what I mean? Like pushing it that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good advice. Um, let's talk a bit about the like your potential agency that you were mentioning. So this would basically be something that you would want to create to help like influencers grow, like basically the scenario that you just gave to Chris, right?
Yeah. So I see it as that, and I see it as a platform where even people who have a small business and they want to connect with influencers, I think it is a really good way because as I said, like the future of what this is right now are small content creators because of how much
Yeah.
they can push out,
Yep.
how willing they are to push out. They are also the demographic that is willing to do things for free. And I
Hmm.
always like to say that like the for free, don't look at that as like a bad thing because I did a lot of things for free and all that did for me was create a resume.
Yeah, for sure. It
I
taught
think
you how to make.
a lot of people forget that. I have a lot of people like, "Hey girl, like how do you get invited to these?" Like or how did you like do this because like I've been doing this for so long and they're not like paying me. The only time that I would like in the early stages, the only time that I would like say like, "Hey, you know, I've worked with you for a second time." Like I would advocate and pitch for myself like, "You know, this is the second time I've worked for you. This is how this video did and these numbers and this turnover and da 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 the ROI. This is like how this did. This is like my proposal and this is how I'm pitching myself. And if they don't want
Hmm.
to work with me, then I would end that contract right there." But I think it still built a resume. And once you start working with larger brands and you're posting them on their social and you're doing something called white label content creating, which is what I actually moved into for the last year and a half, and I love it. I love it. And if you I don't know if you guys know what white label content
No,
creating
no,
is.
tell
No.
us.
I absolutely love it, and I honestly think it's the future. And I talk about it all the time. And I talked about it in another podcast. And I was basically saying how powerful like user generated content is, and that is when you can like show up on an app and like speak about a product, and it's authentic, it's personable. But a lot of the times, brands are using that type of form to see a return in investment. So, for example, I worked with Laneige on like a 6-month type of contract,
Hmm.
and I created a bundle of videos for them. And so, what that looked like was that I would sort of create a plan for them where I would say, okay, this month, this Halloween, how can I talk about Laneige and theme it to Halloween? How can I talk about Laneige and theme it to Christmas? I would create 6 videos, send it to them, we would develop a rate together, and all of those videos were for them. I just sat back. I didn't have to post anything.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. So you don't post these on your own channel or on your
I
own
don't post
pages?
it. I don't post it, and that's where I saw the most money because at that
Wow.
point, once that brand approves that and they like that video, that's where the ads come in. That's where all of a sudden they want to post it on their TikTok. They want to post it on their Instagram, and that's where I can negotiate how long they can use my video for. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, this video can be used for ads for like 4 months. So for example, when I worked with Hudson Bay, you know, you would see sort of like when you're swiping, you would sort of see like my video there. Those are all ads that they have to pay me for weekly outside of the video that they paid me for.
Yeah, that's
Mm.
crazy.
Literally. And there's so much things that people don't know about because they think you need to have like 100,000 followers and like a pretty aesthetic feed when like there's so much to content creating that like is not just posting on Instagram and posting on TikTok. You can
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
can we
literally
sharing
talk
a
have
about
lot.
it.
can we talk about that? Because I think a lot of people will get intimidated by the Bay or H&M, but
Yeah.
I think that at least on my personal IG, I see a lot of people having paid by or sponsored by on these real type of videos. Can you talk about
Mhm.
how someone could approach these brands, or what is the checklist that you need to
Yeah.
have before presenting themselves or presenting a pitch to these type of companies?
Yeah. So for me personally, I do not pitch anymore, but when I did pitch, I would, it was very chaotic. I would sort of do a lot of copy and pasting and like changing the name because really and truly, like no other information was changing aside from the brand's name, right? Because like, you know, you'd put your sort of demographics, you'd talk about who you are as a creator. So nothing was changing except for the name. And I would basically say like, you know, my name's Aaliyah. I'm a content creator from Montreal or whatever. I live in Toronto. I sort of changed that. I now just say like a Canadian creator or a Toronto creator. And I love to tag something that they are doing, whether that be like an initiative, something that a product that they just recently launched, and I can talk about how much I love this product, so they know that I'm somebody that like purchases this
Hmm.
brand, and it's not just
Familiar with
I'm just yeah, like I'm familiar with what they do. And this is where the freeness comes in, because another way where I realized I was working with brands a lot is because I would also create content around that brand that I can always plug that in with a hyperlink. So if you really want to see what what I do and how I've talked about your brand through my videos, I would hyperlink that video. And
Mm.
majority of the times I was getting an email back and they were saying, we would love to work with you on this campaign. And it was coming like that. And the minute you start to like sort of reach out to these brands and create that, those brands start following you back. They're kind of looking at your content. And then the more other opportunities that are paid that you see on Instagram that are hashtag ads, I see when these brands are looking at these type of contents, because there's like social platforms, and this is something I've learned in PR as well. There's like social platforms where you can search up an influencer and you can see all the brands this person has worked for. So that's why it's so important to like always hashtag ad, to always like tell people with the brands that they're working with, because other brands are following you and they're seeing that, and they
That's
know like,
smart.
okay, your content is of quality.
Yeah. And like you've been approved to work with these other brands, so that means your experience, you have a resume, and whatnot.
Exactly.
That's so
Exactly.
smart.
So would you
Yeah.
say someone who's like growing and has, accumulated quite a bit of a following should be pitching themselves to brands that they want to work with?
I
Sasha?
think they should. I do, especially right now. It's a quiet period where you're not hearing anything from anybody. I would say I've always advocate for yourself. Create sort of like this paragraph, um, explaining who you are, and you might not get a message back. You can even go as far as making a media kit, which I think sometimes can be a waste of time. And I mentioned this in actually one of my videos before, and I always say that like a media kit is a really good tool when a brand is asking for a media kit. But when you send a media kit to a brand, you're always sort of limiting yourself at what that is. So
Mm.
for example, like you might say, I'm trying to think about like the most basic thing. Like, let's just say it was like you would charge $20 to promote this. Okay. This is what I'm approaching a brand with. I'm like, I will, make a TikTok for you for $20 to promote this video. Sorry, to promote this water bottle. And so the brand is looking at this, they see this number and they say, yeah, let's go with her, because we were just trying to fight for this influencer and trying to pay her $500 to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Why do that when I can work with a brand and literally ask them this one simple question, which I kid you not, people are not doing. And it's literally asking, what is your budget? I
Exactly.
never let a brand ask me what my budget is first.
The
If they
gym.
want to reach out to me, I ask them, how much are you willing to pay me? And when I see what their cap is, I'm going to the cap. Okay? I'm going to the cap. You said 500? You said 800 for this TikTok? That is my rate.
Mhm.
But I will never do less, because the minute you continue to go up, you'll realize like, oh, like I just did this video for $800 or $1,000 a bundle. Like, why would I accept like $100 for the
Yeah,
whole?
Yeah.
most people
You know?
tend to undersell themselves in the beginning when they don't have much experience. So
Yes, that's why I say build your resume, negotiate as much as you can, because trust me, there's always someone accepting something lower than you and something higher than you. And that's why when you pitch yourself, always show examples of the work that you've done, speak highly of the brand, and actually use the brand, because it shows when you don't use the brand.
For sure. Oh yeah, yeah. Like we were saying before, you can always tell when they're like selling their souls.
Yeah, and it's so obvious.
Yeah. But I have a question. Like, where can someone start to look for brands? Because like, do you just mention brand? Like, do you just reach out to brands that you use, or like, can you try to figure out where to find brands? Like, what's a starting point for somebody that just has no idea where, like, who to message?
Okay. This is so funny. This is why I really truly feel like I've learned so much in like the last like 2 years, that I feel like the key is actually not even the brand. And yes, there are brands that will reach out to me or reach out to other content creators, but the key is actually the agency.
Okay.
The key is the agency, because they're the ones that have clients that are ranging from personal finance to food to fashion to beauty, that when you pitch to the agency and you tell them who you are, they then look at their clients and you are now in a box to be filled in majority of work that they are doing in campaigns.
Mm-hmm.
And they then say, this is what's happening. When I look at the people that, or the agencies that pitch me, it's always the same agencies. And that's because I probably worked with them on like a Starbucks thing that now they're circling back and they're like, this is a new campaign we're doing. We'd love to work with you.
Yeah.
That is the only people that pitch me are agencies. It's never the specific brand. So it might be me posting this water bottle, which is probably like, let's just say the most popular water bottle in the world, but it's not actually the water bottle brand that's reaching out to me. It's the agency behind it that looks for influencers to promote this water bottle.
So brands
that's
basically hire like agencies to do this work in the background for them, I guess.
Exactly. So when you look at people like Fenty Beauty or Skims, they actually might reach out to content creators. If they don't, it's always an agency that works with the client, Fenty Beauty, the client Skims, that, you know, they have within their budget, I don't know, $10,000 to work with influencers, and they have to sort of split that money up on however they want. Do you know what I mean? Like whoever they want. So that's why I say like the agencies are literally like the pudding, and that's how I majority of the times work with a large portion of these brands.
Yeah, that's amazing advice. Where do you find the agencies though?
Yeah, I know it's crazy. It's really, really crazy,
Because
but
I'm like, I never even heard of this.
yeah. Honestly, it's just research. If working in PR, you kind of know about a lot of the influencer agencies in like Toronto and Montreal, because a lot of them actually have a house in Montreal and Toronto. So like soy agencies, Two Milk One Sugar, Zach Communications, huge in Montreal, and that is like a lifestyle beauty. You'll see a lot of content creators in Montreal and Toronto work with them. And also too, when you see hashtag paid, you'll see sort of the agency sort of maybe tagged in the comments.
Okay.
Every time I go to an event, I'm always tagging the agency, because that not only shows them that like I'm giving them coverage of this event that they kindly invited me to, but they'll know to invite me to another event because it's exposure.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
getting exposure, and that's literally all they want is exposure.
That's so smart. I feel like I learned so much already.
That's what I was
Again,
about to say. Like, I feel like definitely the agency thing you're about to do is something just from this one conversation I really see you doing, and I feel like
Yeah,
you have
me
a lot of
too.
value to provide. Because if you're, do you see yourself doing or going back to YouTube at any point, or is that like done with?
no, I do. I think it's
Yeah.
just more just like just changing the way I show up on YouTube. Because you know, like technically, like I posted 2 weeks ago, 2 months ago, 4 months ago, but it's not the content I used to make. But I still see myself on there. I just don't know how consistently and the type of content I want to create.
No, but like just from this conversation, I definitely see you as someone who can have that social media agency thing and help
Yeah, me
Yeah.
people.
too. I'm like, girl, you
Like,
have so much value to give, and like,
There's definitely a gap in the market, and I think,
Hmm.
especially for a lot of micro influencers, I don't think there's a lot of guidance. I think a lot of people will just copy paste what the big influencers do, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of money left on the table, especially, you know, like people are saying like Facebook is doing a comeback in terms of like Facebook groups, etc. So there's a lot of different platforms to be on, and I'm always
Hmm.
one to say don't make money on one platform, because in case that platform falls apart, you don't have a platform to make money on. So I think there's a lot of
Listen, Sasha tweets
information that is
that all
valuable.
the time. Make sure you have, if Sasha can say one thing on Twitter, make sure you have multiple sources of income.
I literally tweet that like once a month.
It's true though. Literally, the only app that doesn't make me money personally is Twitter. But I don't even know if Twitter makes anybody money.
I mean, in terms of
Unless
like,
you do ads.
in terms
You
of
need a course.
like in terms of creating content, not really, but it's like I was able to get so many clients from Twitter, and like the majority of my watch or like my viewers for my YouTube channel come from Twitter. So I don't know. I think it depends on the niche that you're in, but I think being in like a finance making money niche is really, really, really powerful on Twitter, because there's a big niche for that. But a lot of people who like focus on video creation, it's not as popular on Twitter. But I have seen a lot of people like posting their TikToks on Twitter too, you know, and
Mhm.
those that can sometimes work too. I think you just have to try out all social medias and see what works for you. But for me,
Yeah.
Twitter has been like the best social media I've ever been on, you know?
Yeah, I do too. I agree. It's really good. I love that for you.
YouTube coming next, hopefully.
Yes.
Well, guys, did you have any other questions for
No, I
Aaliyah?
think we covered a lot. I
I
think
need
this
to
was
go
Yeah.
fun.
back and like and might take some notes.
Facts. Yeah.
No,
No, this was a
literally,
fire episode.
I'm always, honestly, I'm always here to help because, you know, with the capacity that I do have, like sometimes I'm able to like peek into stuff, and like I actually work on another podcast. It's called The Gifted Gab. And then they recently did a campaign. So what I used to do for them, which I don't even have the capacity to anymore, is I actually used to do what that guy from, what is it, Fiverr was doing.
Yeah, like
I
the
used
Mm.
to
reels.
I used to crop and edit their like YouTube videos to make reels, and they saw really good numbers with that. But also to like pitching to yourself like is like really important. So like for you guys, I don't know how many podcasts there are in Montreal, but there's a lot of journalists who are willing to talk about the things that you guys talk about. And like they're always on Twitter, and that's kind of how I find sort of like my work to like my work life 9 to 5. That's kind of how I find like those type of journalists that I can like pitch clients to. Like this has nothing to do with content creation, but
Yeah.
more towards like what you guys can do right now to sort of like open the door for like other millennials and other people to sort of watch you guys' podcast, because people are not taking advantage of that. Sasha, if you're you're on Twitter and you see like Montreal journalists that talk about personal finance or talk about budgeting or talk about saving, or even just the fact that you guys are, you know, you guys are all like multi-talented here. There's even like you guys have like a POC here. Like there's so much. Sorry to put you under the spot, but there's just, you know, there's so much that you guys can do. Like you can like reach out to them and just say like, hi, like my name is, I know you guys have like a group name, but you can individually pitch it to yourself, and you can say like, we talk about these topics.
Mhm.
I would love to like come to CTV. Like I don't know, what is it, like what's the Montreal news called again? Oh my god, I'm drawing
Yeah,
a
it's
blank.
CTV, no?
Yeah, we have
No,
CTV.
no, wait.
Global news, yeah, global, because I know
Okay.
those are like Canadian, so I'm talking about like smaller stuff, you know. But you can like literally pitch to those journalists, and you can like go on one of their segments, because that's actually what we did at like one of the, what's it called, one of the podcasts that we had in like Toronto. They ended
That's
up reaching out to
crazy.
somebody from CTV, and they said like, you know, we're two one guy's Iranian and one is Jamaican, and they said we're their, you know, their sort of their background and their culture, whatever. They said that they talk about industry news, so like people who are doing like things that are transformational, and the segment ended up on CTV. And
That's
even if it was
That's
just
crazy.
fire.
even if it was like 4 minutes, it was a personal interview. The guy came on, one of the guys, because one of my friends, Andre, he does it. He came on, he pitched himself, and he said, you know, this is where we talk about small businesses in like the city who are like doing this and da da da. And they saw numbers from that.
Yeah, that's insane. I would have never ever like even thought of doing that.
Yeah, that's a
And
crazy.
now I'm like,
That's an
holy
amazing
shit, that's
idea.
an amazing idea, because
Yeah.
Yeah.
imagine like the reach that you can build from just being on the news. Like that's
On the
crazy.
show, yeah. It's so true. And you guys are like all in like sort of like the age gap where like the people you want to reach are like us, you know, like you
Yeah.
want to
Mhm.
reach us. And like maybe we're not news watchers, but like those types of news segments, they end up turning into like news like that you can search up. And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden your name is like, you know what I mean? Like it really push yourself, push it.
Yeah, that's crazy. We need to look into that, guys.
Yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. And like I just recently started this new platform. So like I'm honestly, like, I'm a big help. If there's anything I can like literally help you guys with, like I would do it, even if it means like finding journalists, because I know that's hard. But yeah, the best way is to look at like these platforms like CTV News, and you can see the type of like journalists and say like, oh,
Yeah,
this journalist talked about personal finance, and their email is right there, and you can
that's
email
so
them.
smart. Yeah, you can
That'd
be
be
like, I've seen
fire.
you've done this in the past, da da da. Oh,
Yeah,
that's so smart.
I've seen you've done this in the
Wow, that's the
past.
gem. That's the gem of the episode.
Yeah, for real,
Yeah.
guys, we're sleeping.
Yeah. I talk about this, or you talked the other day, you talked about how millennials can have 3 sources of income in like 2022. I actually recently talked about this on my podcast called blah, blah, whatever. And here's a link of this video. And you know what I mean? people were in the comments talking about all of these things. This is what like me and my little gang can talk about. We would love to be on your show.
Genius.
That'd be fire.
Yeah. Get the
That's a good
exposure.
idea.
I'm telling you, that's where it's in right now.
Yeah, that's
Shit,
a really
imagine
good tip.
us on CDV and Global.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. I'm
so
like,
And it's
that'd be crazy.
possible.
Yeah,
Like
I
the other
believe
day,
it. I believe it.
the other day, this little kid was selling what's it called, lemonade, and they had him on the show just because he talked about the fact that he's 8 years old making money. Like they
That's
don't care.
so
Anything
cute.
fresh and new they want on
Yeah,
TV.
for sure.
You
for
know what?
sure.
I've been thinking about it. It's like I don't think people think it's hard to contact these people, but it's actually very easy because not a lot of people are doing it. It's like
No,
even the people
no,
that should be doing it aren't doing like us. We haven't done it, and like Sasha
no.
Yeah,
should be pitching herself to brands, and she still hasn't done it. So it's like
yeah. We've been saying that for like 6 months now, but
I know
Oh,
we've been saying,
Sasha, come
Not
on.
6 months. Oh, they're calling you out.
yeah,
Yeah,
like let's go. But
Sorry. Are you
go back to
tagging
episode 2.
like brands?
like sometimes, but my niche is not like that much. It's not so many like products. That's the thing. Like my niche is not
Yeah.
really in that direction. But like in terms of our podcast, like that's something we need to work on is like trying to get some type of something for our podcast,
Yeah.
you know? So
Yeah,
that's what we're going to
ROI.
be working on. It's just that I'm like, I don't know why I'm intimidated because our podcast still doesn't have like that many views. I appreciate everyone that watches, but you know, it's like making its way up, but like I don't know, I feel like I'm not confident enough in terms of my numbers, even the podcast numbers and everything. That's why I'm like hesitant. But Chris is right. Like there's so many people that are looking for, like you were saying before, micro influencers or like small people that still don't have that much clout yet. And
Yeah.
like so you just have to be confident, I guess. And like this is me giving advice to myself, right?
Yeah. No, and sometimes you
make
have
it.
to give yourself advice.
Yeah.
You do, and like apply it and take it. And there's a lot of like grants in Montreal that you guys can apply for in terms of like equipment. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
cool.
Like yeah, like push yourself to like get those type
yeah,
of
do you want to
grants.
be the manager of like the Untoldgems
Facts.
podcast?
I'm telling you, this is what an agency would be like for me. Honest to God, I would have
Like
these type of-
literally we need her.
yeah.
Well,
because you
let's
guys
make it
get, like,
official. It'll be your first unofficial client.
yeah,
Okay.
if I honestly, I would send it. I would send it your way if I see anything, because there are a lot of like non-for-profits that are willing to give like people a certain amount of like like money to like invest in like
Yeah,
something
yeah,
that
yeah.
they're doing.
Yeah.
That is like those are the things that you guys have, and there's always like a fiscal cycle. So like now it's probably October, so you're not going to hear anything, but maybe like January or like August, where people are back to school. That's where like people are looking for people who are willing to do things like this, and they'll give them that type of grant, so you can invest in equipment and maybe finding a
Studio time.
studio.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Invest in your business, everything.
Damn. Fire. Well, that one final
Yeah,
question
wow.
for you. It's a question
Mic
that we
drop.
ask to everyone, but Charl, do you want to go?
No, you can go. I already know the answer to this. I know the answer.
So, have you ever heard of the Jay-Z question?
The Jay-Z question. No.
Okay, so
You would you rather take 500K cash or have dinner with Jay-Z?
for now,
And why?
500K cash or dinner with Jay-Z?
yeah.
Have you never heard
Oh,
this
God.
question before?
No, why? That sounds so crazy. No, I haven't.
It's like it's a trending
Yeah,
It
question
was
that-
trending. It's not trending recently, but we're bringing it back.
it will forever be trending.
500K or dinner with Jay-Z. Okay, so here's the thing, right? I'm gonna justify both of my answers, and then I'm gonna give you an answer.
sounds
Mm.
good.
Okay, 500K. You said 500K.
Yeah.
I
Gosh.
feel like I'm good with money. That I think 500K could be good in terms of like making my money make money. So I feel like I could do that. But then with Jay-Z, right? I think like he is a mogul, but I also think that one conversation can like open up doors. So like if I were to tell him like this is something I want to work on, he may want to invest in me,
You're right.
and the blessing can still happen, but I'm gonna still be broke. So
It's a hard question, I guess.
500K, you still have to go back to work tomorrow. That's what I tell people.
500K.
Well, meeting
Yeah,
with
but
Jay-Z,
how
you
can
still
you
have to go back
guarantee-
to work.
Yeah, but
Oh,
how do
yeah,
you
but there's the
exactly
exit plan though. There's the exit plan because
like
that's what I said.
how do you guarantee that the conversation with Jay-Z is even gonna go anywhere? Also,
Yeah,
But
you
you
don't
didn't
know.
But that's you have to make it go
also
somewhere.
but
so
you
in my
see,
head,
I tell people
'Cause
I'm
he's
like,
not
if you
trying to
don't have
talk.
financial
He's just trying to eat his pizza. You know, he's not like really trying to talk about
Pizza,
business.
500K,
he eats steak only.
you're
What are
so
you
right.
talking about?
Because why would he want to talk to little old me? Like, what is he like? Is he? No, I'm taking the money. I'm taking the money. I'm taking the money. That is what I'm doing.
Oh my god.
Good.
That is so funny. That I'm taking the money because you know what? You're so right. Jay-Z is so busy.
Yeah,
He's so busy. And
Like
Beyonce,
you might get lucky and like he'll like you and you know then he'll invest in you. Like if you like, it's kind of like a 50-50 chance, you know? Like he
yeah,
might like you, might
Yo,
invest in you, might change your life, but like the 500K is like it's a solid way to
yeah,
it's like
grow
it's
your
like
life.
Eminem said, like one shot, one opportunity. Like for me,
yeah.
not everybody can handle $500,000. You know, that's why I'm
yeah.
like,
True. That's
Yeah, because a
true.
lot of people that win the lottery they end up wasting all of the
You
money
lose it.
quick. So
I'm so excited.
yeah,
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I'm going with the 500.
sounds
Fire,
good.
fire. All right, guys. Well, we're gonna end the episode here. So, Aaliyah, it was a pleasure speaking with you. It was a
Thank you
fire
so much
episode.
for all the
It was
gems and the
so
tips and
yeah,
nice.
mad
everything.
gem.
Thank you
I'm
guys.
taking notes. I'm gonna go take notes.
It was so lovely to meet all of you guys as well.
Yeah, for sure. So, thank you for watching and subscribing to Untold Gems, and we will see you next week.